Yes, I'm going to make a few comments. I'm going to preface them as this is not meant to dive into the deliberation we're going to do later as it relates to what the board is going to decide with the non-renewals. I want to take a moment to address the allegations that have been stated publicly over the last few weeks by various individuals concerning the charter non-renewal process and the ongoing board-sanctioned independent investigation as to the allegations of racial bias in charter school authorizing practices. Given we have a number of charter school items on tonight's agenda, I believe it is important that we address the inaccuracies here in this public forum in the spirit of transparency, providing clarity on current practices, and informing the greater public. It has been alleged that the charter schools that are being considered for non-renewal by this board have been robbed or precluded from due process. This is factually false. There are several steps to the evaluation process over the course of a charter school's term. All charter schools receive an annual evaluation. We call this the ACE report. The report covers academics, organizational compliance, finance, so that schools can track their progress toward renewal. During these annual reviews, schools have multiple opportunities to provide feedback to the charter school office to ensure their reviews are accurate. So it follows that each charter school receives a report card and progress report that should put them on notice as to the likelihood that the charter school may be considered for non-renewal. What's more, each public charter school, if relying on the yearly report, should know exactly what they need to improve on or what they would like to argue they don't need to improve on. In year 5 of the charter term, the school will receive an evaluation of its entire charter term. This is the renewal evaluation. At this point, the board must consider a charter school's application for renewal in compliance with charter school law. In reviewing the full evaluation report, the board must make a decision to renew, non-renew, or exercise an agree to surrender clause provision if applicable. Per board policy 401 charter authorizing functions, the board may decide to begin the non-renewal process for a charter school by issuing a notice of non-renewal to the charter school. This official notice would serve as the start of the quote unquote constitutionally protected due process for the school. Tonight, we have 2 action items on our agenda to consider notices of non-renewal. There are action items 88 and 90. Depending on the outcome of the vote tonight, each charter holder will have the opportunity, if they so choose, and by right, to seek a hearing in which they can make their case before a hearing officer. After that process, the Board of Education will consider the record of the entire hearing process, the recommendation of the hearing officer, and taking the final vote. Finally, once a decision has been made by this Board of Education, the charter schools always has the right to appeal per law. All in all, there has not been a deprivation of due process of any of the charter holders at issue. In fact, we are currently at the beginning of the process. Next, there have been erroneous accusations and allegations in which multiple parties and individuals have stated that the board agreed to a moratorium on closing any and all Black-founded charter schools. After weeks of internal review and much good faith and due diligence by the Board of Education and the Charter School Office, the board is more than confident in stating that it has not offered or agreed in any way to enact a blanket moratorium on the renewal process of only Black-founded charter schools. In fact, this board repeatedly and adamantly stated in various meetings and in documents that all, I quote, this is a quote, all renewal and regular board authorizing work will continue to move forward on regular time frame and process, end quote. Moreover, per the charter school law, this board has a legal duty to continue in the renewal process and a duty to the children and parents of Philadelphia to engage in this process. Any suggestion otherwise is just not accurate. Any moratorium as to any non-renewal process will be a dereliction of our collective duty as the authorizer. Just as this board's laser focus on student academic outcomes via its goals and guardrails is readily apparent at each progress monitoring session, so is this board's labor focus as to the legally mandated authorizer for our public charter schools. Moreover, the board cares deeply about the consequences on our children that flow from chronic organizational issues, financial concerns, and other safety concerns for our children if they appear. Asking the board to ignore this is the same as asking this board to breach the oaths we took when each and every one of us were confirmed. Finally, I want to say thank you to the Pennsylvania legislators who faithfully have engaged with the Board of Education in regularly scheduled meetings on various topics. And we look forward to doing more with other cities, elected state officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Streeter. Um,